My girlfriend announced she needed to test our compatibility and went into seclusion with another man. I played along, but meanwhile changed the locks, discarded her things, canceled our future engagement, and immediately notified her parents. Be me, Connor, 29 years old. This happened 4 months ago. Finally ready to talk about it. Still feels like living in some weird movie. Might as well get it out there since everyone keeps asking. Work as project coordinator for manufacturing company in Tampa. Make decent money. Own my house outright. Drive newer pickup truck. Basically got life together. Been with Melissa, 26, for 3 years. She worked in real estate selling luxury homes to wealthy clients. Or at least she did until she quit 2 weeks before our wedding. Wanted to focus on being a bride and wedding planning stuff. My sister Brooke kept saying something was off about Melissa. Said she was being secretive, always glued to her phone. My best man Tyler thought it was just wedding stress. 4 days before the wedding, Melissa went out with girlfriends. Didn't come home until 3:30 a.m. When I asked about it, she got super defensive. Said I was being controlling and possessive. We had this massive fight where she said maybe we should postpone. I apologized like a complete idiot. Wedding day starts normal enough. Wake up around 7:30 a.m. feeling pretty good about everything. Mom calls me freaking out about some centerpiece arrangement issue. Tell her everything's going to work out fine. Best man Tyler shows up with other groomsmen around 12:30 p.m. Then the wedding march starts playing. Everyone turns around to look at the back doors. There she is, Melissa in her white dress, holding her dad's arm, looking absolutely stunning. Got to admit, she looked amazing in that moment. Whole thing felt like it was straight out of a movie. Her dad walks her down the aisle, shakes my hand, gives her a kiss on the cheek. Everything's perfect. We're standing there holding hands while Pastor does his thing. He's going through the whole speech about marriage being sacred, talking about love and commitment and all that. I'm looking at Melissa thinking about our honeymoon to Costa Rica, about moving into a bigger house, maybe having kids someday. All that future stuff you think about when getting married. Pastor gets to the important part. Connor, do you take Melissa to be your wife? Easy answer, no hesitation whatsoever. I do. Ready for this. No doubts in my mind. Then he turns to Melissa. Melissa, do you take Connor to be your husband? She looks at me for a second with this weird expression, like she's trying to say something but can't get words out. Thinking maybe she's just emotional. Some girls cry at their weddings, right? That's when the doors at back of church open up. This guy walks in wearing a dark suit. I recognize him immediately. It's Derek, Melissa's ex-boyfriend from college. What the hell is he doing here? He wasn't on the guest list at all. He starts walking down the aisle like he owns the place, not giving a damn that he's interrupting a wedding ceremony. Everyone turns around to stare at him in shock. The music stops completely. Pastor just stands there with his mouth hanging open. I'm still holding Melissa's hands but can feel her tensing up. Derek walks right up to the altar, looks at me, then looks at Melissa. Then he says loud enough for the whole church to hear, Melissa, I know you still love me. Melissa says Derek in this weird voice. He continues, the night we had 4 days ago was amazing. Come with me. The entire place goes dead silent, like you could hear a pin drop in there. I'm looking at this guy thinking, did he just say what I think he said? 4 days ago, that was the night she came home at 3:30 a.m. I look at Melissa, and she's got tears in her eyes. But not happy tears, not wedding tears. She's staring at Derek like she's seeing a ghost. Then she looks at me and says, Connor, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And just like that, she drops my hands, drops her bouquet right on the ground, and runs, not walks, runs down the aisle toward Derek. He follows her out the back doors, and they're both gone just like that. I'm standing there at the altar in my tux, holding her bouquet because it hit me in the chest when she dropped it. 180 people are staring at me like I'm some kind of zoo animal. My mom's crying her eyes out. My dad looks like he wants to murder someone. Melissa's family is just sitting there looking embarrassed as hell. Pastor clears his throat and says something about how sometimes life takes unexpected turns. But I'm not listening to any of it. I'm just staring at those back doors, wondering what the hell just happened to my life. My brain wasn't working right at all. Kept thinking this had to be some kind of prank. Maybe I was having a nightmare or something. Like maybe I'd wake up and it would be morning of my wedding again. Everything would be normal and none of this happened. But nope, I was wide awake. This was really happening to me. Tyler walks up behind me and puts his hand on my shoulder. Dude, what was that? He whispers. But it's so quiet in there that half the church probably heard him. I couldn't answer him at all. Honestly, had no idea what to say to anyone. Sorry guys, turns out my fiancé was cheating on me. with her ex and decided to let me know at the worst possible moment. Yeah, that would have gone over real well. Melissa's family is just sitting there looking mortified. Her mom's covering her face with her hands. Her dad's staring at the floor like he wants to disappear. Victoria, her sister who was supposed to be maid of honor, standing next to me in that purple dress, looking like she's about to throw up or pass out. Finally, Tyler grabs my arm and says, "Come on, man, let's get you out of here." Smart thinking, because I probably would have just stood there all day, like an idiot if he hadn't moved me. We walk out through the side door, so I don't have to go back down the aisle past everyone staring. I get in my truck and just sit there for a minute. Tyler gets in the passenger seat. We both just sit there not saying anything at all. What are you supposed to say after something like that? "Sorry, your fiancé turned out to be a cheating piece of work. Thanks for being there when my life imploded in front of 180 people. I drive home and park in my driveway. Tyler asks if I want him to come in, but I tell him I need to be alone for a while. He says he'll check on me later. Gives me this awkward bro hug before getting in his car. I go inside my house and it's weird as hell. Everything's exactly like I left it this morning. When I was excited about getting married, there's still wedding stuff everywhere around the house. Guest list on my kitchen table. Melissa's backup makeup bag she forgot to take to Victoria's house. The fancy luggage we bought for our honeymoon sitting by the door. My phone starts buzzing like crazy. Text after text, call after call. Everyone wants to know what happened. If I'm okay, what the hell was going on with Melissa? I turn the phone off and just sit on my couch, staring at the wall, trying to process everything. Around 5:30 p.m., Tyler shows up at my door. He'd been calling me for hours, but obviously couldn't get through. When I let him in, he's got this look on his face, like he's got bad news to tell me. "Dude, everyone's been trying to reach you. Your mom's freaking out, your sister's pissed as hell. People are still at the venue because nobody knows what to do." Turns out after I left, both families were trying to figure out how to handle the situation. The venue still had to get paid for everything. The food was already prepared and ready to serve. DJ was there with all his equipment set up. Some people left right away because they were uncomfortable, but a lot of them stuck around because they didn't know what else to do. Melissa's family was in full damage control mode. Victoria was trying to apologize to everyone, explaining that this wasn't planned, that she had no idea this was going to happen. Their parents were just trying to get through the day without dying of embarrassment. But here's the part that really pissed me off. Tyler tells me that some people were actually defending Melissa, saying maybe she just got cold feet, maybe Derek forced her to leave, maybe there was some misunderstanding about everything. Like, are you kidding me? The guy literally announced that he slept with her 4 days ago, and she ran away with him in front of everyone. What's to misunderstand about that? Then Tyler drops the real news on me. "Dude, I recorded some of it on my phone. I was just taking video of the ceremony like everyone else. And I caught the whole thing when Derek showed up. At first I'm like, delete that right now. Last thing I need is a video of the worst moment of my life, floating around for people to see." But Tyler says he already posted it on TikTok, without thinking about it. He was just so shocked by what happened that he uploaded it immediately without considering the consequences. "How many people have seen it?" I ask him. Well, it's kind of blowing up. Like 75,000 views in the last few hours. Great, just great. Now my humiliation is going viral on social media. I can already picture the comments, people making jokes about it, turning it into memes, sharing it with their friends for entertainment. My worst day ever is about to become internet content. The comments are already brutal as hell. People calling Melissa every name in the book, saying I'm better off without her, making jokes about Derek's timing. Some people are even feeling sorry for me, which is almost worse than the jokes. "Can you take it down?" I asked Tyler. "I tried, but it's already been shared like 1,000 times. Even if I delete mine, it's out there now." Perfect, absolutely perfect. So not only did my fiancé cheat on me and humiliate me in front of everyone I know, now it's going to be on the internet forever. People I've never met are going to watch me get my heart ripped out and probably laugh about it. After Tyler leaves, I turn my phone back on. 89 missed calls, 172 text messages, voicemails from my mom, my dad, my sister, coworkers, friends, even people I haven't talked to in years, who saw the video and wanted to check on me. I don't listen to any of them. I don't read any of the texts either. I just turn the phone off again and go to bed. But I don't sleep at all. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, trying to process what happened to my life. This morning I woke up thinking I was about to have the best day of my life. Tonight I'm going to bed single, humiliated. and probably famous on the internet for all the wrong reasons. The worst part is I keep thinking about that fight we had 4 days ago when she came home at 3:30 a.m. Got defensive when I asked about it. Now I know why she was acting that way. She was with Derek that whole time. She was cheating on me 4 days before our wedding, then had the nerve to get mad at me for asking questions about it. I should have trusted my gut feeling. I should have listened to my sister Brooke. I should have paid attention to all the red flags. Instead of making excuses for her behavior, but it's too late now, the damage is done. Around 4:30 a.m., I gave up trying to sleep. Just got up and made coffee. Sat at my kitchen table looking at all the wedding crap scattered around. Guest list, vendor receipts. The stupid little wedding favors Melissa insisted we needed. That cost me $500 for something nobody would keep. All of it felt like evidence from a crime scene. That's when it hit me. I needed to start making some calls. We were supposed to fly to Costa Rica this afternoon for our honeymoon. 2 weeks at some fancy beach resort. All paid for and mostly non-refundable. First call was to the airline. Spent 25 minutes on hold listening to that annoying elevator music. Before some customer service lady picked up, she was actually pretty cool about the whole situation. Waived some of the change fees since my situation was, in her words, highly unusual and unfortunate. Still cost me about $3,500 in penalties. But whatever. Money was the least of my problems right now. Next was the hotel in Costa Rica. That conversation was even more awkward, because the guy barely spoke English. Had to explain 3 times why I needed to cancel my honeymoon suite reservation. Finally just said there was a family emergency, and left it at that. By the time I was done with all the travel stuff, it was around 7:30 a.m., and I'd lost about $9,500 total. $9,500 down the drain, because my fiancé decided to cheat on me, and announce it at our wedding in front of everyone. But honestly, I was more pissed about the principal than the money. Then I started thinking about all the wedding gifts. People had given us expensive stuff. Kitchen appliances, fancy bedding sets, picture frames, serving dishes, all kinds of household items. Since there was no wedding and no marriage, it felt wrong keeping any of it. Plus, I didn't want any reminders of that disaster. Sitting around my house, spent the rest of the morning loading up my truck, driving around town, returning gifts to people. Had this note I printed out that said, "Since the bride ran away with her ex, figured you'd want this back. Thanks for understanding, Connor." By 11:30 a.m., I'd returned about half the gifts. The rest were from people who lived too far away, so I just boxed them up to mail back later. My truck was finally empty, and I was feeling a little better about things. At least I was doing something productive, instead of just sitting around feeling sorry for myself. That's when I remembered Melissa's car. She'd been driving my old Honda Accord for the past year, while I got the newer pickup truck. The title was still in my name, because we never got around to transferring it. She kept saying she'd handle the paperwork, but never actually did it. Lucky for me, I guess. Drove the Honda down to the used car lot, where I bought my truck originally. Sales guy recognized me and was like, "Hey Connor, how was the wedding yesterday? Didn't happen, long story. You want to buy this car back from me?" Guy could tell something was wrong. Didn't ask any more questions about it. We worked out a deal and I walked away with $18,000 cash. Figured I'd need the money to cover all the wedding costs. I was stuck with, got home around 1:30 p.m. and that's when the real work started. Melissa had been living in my house for 2 years. Had accumulated a ridiculous amount of stuff everywhere. Took me most of the afternoon to pack everything up. Filled my truck bed twice with boxes and garbage bags. All her pictures came down off the walls. Her books went into boxes. Even packed up the stupid decorative pillows she insisted we needed for the couch. By 5:30 p.m. everything was loaded up, and I was ready to make my delivery. Drove over to her sister Victoria's house. Nobody was home, which was perfect, because I didn't want to deal with any drama or explanations. Left everything on the front doorstep, probably 25 boxes and bags of stuff. Put a note on top that said, "Your sister's belongings." Short and to the point, nothing else needed. Got home and my phone had been buzzing nonstop all day. Turned it on to find like 65 missed calls and 130 text messages. Family, friends, coworkers. Even people I hadn't talked to in years. Everyone wanted to know if I was okay. But the craziest thing was a text from Tyler. "Dude, you need to see this. The video has 4.2 million views. 4.2 million views in less than 24 hours. My wedding disaster had been seen by 4.2 million people, I opened TikTok and there it was. Tyler's video with thousands of comments, hundreds of thousands of likes. And it was still climbing fast. The comments were absolutely insane. People were calling Melissa every name in the book, making jokes about Derek's timing, sharing their own relationship horror stories. Some people were even making memes out of it. There was one where they put dramatic music over Derek walking down the aisle, like he was in some kind of action movie. But here's the weird part. A lot of people were being supportive, saying I handled it with class, that I deserved better than her, that I was going to find someone way better than Melissa. Some women were even commenting stuff like, "If you're ever in my city, let me buy you dinner." My personal nightmare had become internet entertainment, but somehow that made me feel a little better. Like at least other people could see how messed up the whole situation was. I wasn't crazy for being pissed off about it. Started reading through some of the comments, and that's when I realized this wasn't just going to blow over. This video was going to follow Melissa around forever. Every time someone Googled her name, this was going to come up first. Every job interview, every date, every time she tried to start over somewhere, this was going to be there waiting. And honestly, I was okay with that. She made her choice in front of 180 people, and now the whole world knew about it. Maybe next time she'd think twice before cheating on someone and humiliating them. At their own wedding, that night I actually slept pretty well. For the first time in weeks, yeah, my wedding was ruined, and my relationship was over, but at least I wasn't married to someone who would do that to me. And thanks to the internet, everyone would know exactly what kind of person Melissa really was deep down. Tomorrow, I'd start figuring out the rest of my life. But tonight, I was just going to enjoy watching karma do its thing. The next few days were absolutely insane. Tyler wasn't kidding when he said the video was everywhere. By day 3, it had like 11 million views on TikTok alone. People were sharing it on every social media platform you can think of. Runaway Bride was trending for almost a week straight. I couldn't go anywhere without people recognizing me. Went to grab coffee Monday morning, and the barista was like, "Oh my God, you're the guy from the wedding video. I'm so sorry that happened to you." Then she refused to let me pay for my coffee. Weird feeling having strangers feel sorry for you. But I wasn't going to turn down free coffee. But the craziest part was people started sending me money, like random strangers on Venmo and PayPal, sending me $25 here, $75 there, with messages like, "For the honeymoon you deserved. And buy yourself something nice, king." At first I felt weird about taking money from strangers, but then I remembered I was out $9,500 on the honeymoon, and probably another $6,000 on wedding stuff I couldn't get refunded. So yeah, I kept the money from people. By the end of the first week, I'd gotten almost $2,800 from random people on the internet. Not going to lie, that felt pretty good. Meanwhile, Melissa's life was falling apart completely. Started hearing things through my sister Brooke, who was getting updates from mutual friends. Apparently Melissa was hiding out at Victoria's house, too embarrassed to show her face anywhere. Can't say I blame her for that. The comments on that video were brutal as hell. Then on Wednesday, Victoria called me. I almost didn't answer because I didn't want to deal with any drama. But curiosity got the better of me. "Connor, I'm so sorry about what happened. I had no idea Melissa was cheating. I mean, if I'd known about Derek, I would have said something. It's not your fault, Victoria. Your sister made her own choices. She got fired today." That stopped me cold in my tracks. "What do you mean fired?" Her boss saw the video, said she was conducting herself in a way that's detrimental to the company image. Real estate is all about reputation, and nobody wants to work with someone who's famous for running away from their wedding. Victoria tried to keep the conversation going, probably hoping I'd say something about wanting to work things out, but I hung up after a few minutes. Felt a little bad for her, though. Victoria was always decent to me, and now she was stuck dealing with her sister's mess. But the hits kept coming for Melissa. Brooke called me Thursday night with more updates. "Dude, this is getting crazy. Mom ran into Melissa's mom at the grocery store today, and she said their whole family is getting harassed. People keep recognizing them from the video and asking about it constantly." "What kind of harassment?" I asked. "Like at church last Sunday. People were staring and whispering the whole time. Her mom works at the credit union downtown, and customers keep coming in asking about that wedding video. Even her dad's getting grief at work." That actually made me feel a little bad. Melissa's parents were always nice to me, and they didn't deserve to get dragged into this mess. But then I remembered that they raised the daughter, who thought it was okay to cheat on her fiancé. 4 days before the wedding, So maybe they weren't completely innocent in all this. The best part came Friday night. Tyler called me losing his mind, laughing. "Dude, you're not going to believe this. Derek dumped her already." "No way, already?" "Yeah, my cousin knows this girl, who works with someone who knows Derek's roommate or whatever. Apparently once the video went viral, and he started getting recognized too, he decided Melissa was too much drama for him. Told her he just wanted to mess with you, and wasn't looking for anything serious with her. That was absolutely perfect. So not only did Melissa blow up her life for this guy, but he was just using her to get back at me for some reason. I couldn't even remember ever doing anything to Derek. We barely knew each other when Melissa and I started dating. So now she's unemployed, single, and living with her sister because she can't go back home. Why can't she go home, I asked. Apparently her grandparents threatened to disown the whole family if they let her move back in with them. Super religious old school people who think what she did was completely unforgivable. That night I was scrolling through the comments on the video again. Most of them were still roasting Melissa hard, but some people were actually analyzing the whole situation. One comment stuck out to me. This girl really thought she could have her cake and eat it too. Wanted the security of the nice guy, but the excitement of the bad boy. Well, now she's got neither one. That pretty much summed it up perfectly. Melissa wanted to marry me for stability and security, but still wanted to mess around with Derek for whatever reason. When she got caught, she had to choose, and she chose wrong. Now she was finding out that Derek didn't actually want her long term. He just wanted to cause drama and mess with me. Another comment said, "Imagine being so selfish that you'd rather humiliate someone at their own wedding than just break up with them privately beforehand." Yeah, that's what really got to me the most. If she wanted to be with Derek, she could have just called off the wedding. Instead, she let me pay for everything, invited 180 people, and then made a public spectacle out of dumping me in front of everyone. But reading all these comments from strangers who got it, who understood how messed up the whole situation was, made me feel validated about everything. I wasn't overreacting or being dramatic. What Melissa did was genuinely awful, and people could see that clearly. Monday morning, I went back to work, feeling better than I had in months. My boss asked how I was doing, and I told him honestly, better every day. Got a promotion opportunity coming up that I was going to focus on instead of dwelling on relationship drama. That's when I realized I wasn't the victim in this story anymore. I was the guy who dodged a bullet and came out stronger. And Melissa? She was just another cautionary tale about what happens when you try to play games with people's hearts. About a month after the wedding disaster, things were finally settling down. Work was good. I'd saved up a decent amount of money without having to pay for Melissa's expenses. And honestly, I was sleeping better than I had in years. Turns out I was way more stressed about that relationship than I realized at the time. All those months of wedding planning, dealing with Melissa's mood swings and drama, I didn't realize how exhausting it was until it was over. Now I could just come home, watch whatever I wanted on TV, eat whatever I felt like making, and not worry about anyone else's drama or problems. My family was being cool about everything too. My mom stopped asking if I was okay every time she talked to me. My dad went back to giving me normal advice about work and stuff, instead of trying to be a relationship counselor. And Brooke was just relieved she didn't have to pretend to like Melissa anymore. I got to be honest, Brooke told me one day, when we were having lunch together, "I never thought she was right for you. Too high maintenance, always making everything about her. You're way better off without her. Why didn't you say anything before?" I asked. "Would you have listened to me? You were in love, dude." When guys are in love, they don't want to hear that their girlfriend sucks. She was probably right about that. I would have just gotten defensive and made excuses for Melissa like I did whenever anyone questioned our relationship. Meanwhile, I kept hearing updates about Melissa through the grapevine. None of it was good news for her. Victoria called me again about 7 weeks after the wedding. I almost didn't answer, but figured I might as well hear what fresh hell Melissa had gotten herself into. "She's really struggling, Connor. Can't find a job anywhere because that video comes up. Every time someone Googles her name, she's been applying to restaurants and retail stores. Anything that'll hire her at this point." "That sucks," I said, trying to sound sympathetic, but honestly not feeling it much. "She's been asking about you. Wants to know if you're seeing anyone. If you ever think about her, tell her I'm doing great and I hope she figures her life out. Would you ever consider talking to her? Maybe getting some closure or something?" We got closure at the altar, Victoria. She made her choice pretty clear that day. I wasn't interested in playing therapist to her sister. Melissa created this mess. She could deal with it. Couple weeks later, Brooke gave me another update. She'd run into someone who knew someone who'd seen Melissa working at this chain restaurant out by the mall. Apparently she was a hostess or something, making minimum wage and still living with Victoria because she couldn't afford her own place. Her whole friend group dropped her too, Brooke said. Nobody wants to be associated with someone who's internet famous for being terrible. Most of Melissa's friends were pretty shallow anyway. The type of people who cared more about image and social media than actual loyalty or friendship. Made sense they'd distance themselves once she became a meme. The Derek situation was even more pathetic. Heard he'd moved to another state completely. Probably got tired of people recognizing him as the home wrecker from the viral video, so Melissa destroyed her entire life for a guy who used her to mess with me and then disappeared. When things got complicated, around the 2-month mark, I was feeling pretty damn good about everything that happened. Tyler and I were at this sports bar watching a game when he brought up something I'd been thinking about. You know what's crazy? He said. If Melissa hadn't pulled that stunt, you'd be married to her right now, probably miserable and dealing with her drama every day. That night, I was lying in bed thinking about what Tyler said. Yeah, getting left at the altar sucked, and the viral video was embarrassing at first. But what if Melissa had actually gone through with the wedding? What if I'd married someone who was capable of cheating on me, and then humiliating me in front of everyone I cared about? I would have been stuck with her. Divorce would have been messy and expensive. We probably would have had kids eventually, which would have meant dealing with her for the rest of my life. Instead, I found out exactly who she was, before it was too late to do anything about it. And now I was free to find someone who actually respected me. The universe did me a favor that day, even though it didn't feel like it at the time. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing in disguise. And sometimes people do you the biggest favor of your life by showing you their true colors before you make a permanent mistake. I was actually grateful to Melissa now. Not grateful for the humiliation or the wasted time and money, but grateful that she saved me from a lifetime of being married to someone who would do something like that. Better to find out at the altar than 5 years into a marriage. With kids and a mortgage and all kinds of complications, 4 weeks later, I was having probably the best Saturday morning I'd had in years. Then I heard a car door slam in my driveway, looked around the side of the house, and saw this beat-up Honda Civic parked behind my truck. Didn't recognize the car at all, but when the driver got out, my stomach dropped. Melissa. She looked like absolute hell. Hair was a mess, face was all puffy like she'd been crying, wearing these old sweatpants and a t-shirt I'd never seen before. This was not the put-together real estate agent I used to know. This looked like someone who'd been living in their car. Part of me wanted to just go back inside and pretend I wasn't home. But I was curious what she wanted after 3 months of radio silence. Walked around to the front of the house, and she was already at my door, finger hovering over the doorbell, like she was working up the courage to press it. When she saw me, she immediately started crying. "Connor, thank God I wasn't sure you'd be home. What do you want, Melissa?" She tried to step closer to me, but I backed up. Wasn't about to let her think there was any chance of physical contact happening. "Can we talk, please? Just for a few minutes." I almost said no flat out, but honestly, I was curious what kind of bullshit she was going to try to sell me. Plus, better to get this over with now than have her keep showing up at my house. "You've got 5 minutes, talk." She took a deep breath and launched into what sounded like a rehearsed speech. All about how she made the biggest mistake of her life, how she panicked about getting married, how Derek manipulated her and made her think I wasn't right for her. Classic manipulation tactics. Blame everyone else. Play the victim. Act like she had no choice in the matter. "He told me you were just using me for the physical stuff, and that you'd get bored after we were married. Said I deserved someone who was more exciting, more passionate. I was so confused and scared about making the wrong choice. So you decided to test drive him 4 days before our wedding?" Her face went red with embarrassment. That wasn't supposed to happen. We were just talking and things got carried away. I immediately regretted it. But then he showed up at the church, and I panicked. "You panicked? You ran away with him, Melissa, in front of 180 people. That's not panic, that's making a choice." She started crying even harder. Said she realized right away that she made a mistake. Derek didn't want a relationship with her. He just wanted to mess with me for some reason. Then she said he dumped her 3 weeks later, and said the whole thing was just to prove a point. "What point exactly?" I asked. "I don't know. Something about you thinking you were better than him. In college or whatever, I never understood it. Great, so I got humiliated at my own wedding because of some imaginary grudge from 10 years ago that I didn't even know existed. So she goes into this whole speech about how she learned from it and knows who she really loves now, and that's what matters most. Tries to grab my hands while she's talking, but I pulled away immediately. I told her what really mattered was that she was unemployed, living with her sister, and her life fell apart. So now she wanted to crawl back to the stable guy who had his shit together. She starts getting defensive, saying that's not why she's there, that she realized I was the best thing that ever happened to her, and she threw it away for nothing. You're damn right you threw it away, I said, and not just for nothing. You threw it away in the most humiliating way possible. That's when she really lost it. Started making these ugly sobbing sounds. That probably had my neighbors looking out their windows, begging me to give her another chance, saying she'd do anything to make it right, get a job, pay me back for the wedding, go to therapy, whatever I wanted. Said we could start over somewhere else, where people didn't know about the video, and there it was. She wanted to run away from the consequences and start fresh somewhere else. Like none of this ever happened? You think this is about the video? You think I'm embarrassed about what happened? Well, aren't you? The only person who should be embarrassed is you. Everyone who watched that video saw exactly what kind of person you are. They saw me get screwed over by someone I trusted. And they felt sorry for me. You're the one who looks like trash. That hit her hard. She stopped crying for a second and just stared at me, like she couldn't believe I said that. Finally, she said, I'm desperate, okay? I have nowhere else to go. My family won't talk to me. My friends all dropped me. I can't get a decent job because that video follows me everywhere. You're the only person who might give me a second chance. You don't want me back because you love me. You want me back because I'm your only option. That's not true, she said. Yes, it is. If Derek wanted a relationship with you, if you could get your old job back, if your family forgave you, would you be here right now? She didn't answer, which was an answer in itself. I turned around and started walking back toward my house. She called after me, saying she'd wait for me to change my mind, that she knew I still cared about her. All kinds of desperate stuff, but I just kept walking. Got to my front door and turned around one more time. She was standing by her car, looking completely defeated. Melissa? I called out. Yeah, she said hopefully. Next time you want to test if someone's right for you, do it before the wedding, not at the altar. Went inside and that was it. The final chapter of the Melissa saga. She tried every manipulation tactic in the book. Guilt, desperation, promises to change, playing the victim card. But I wasn't the same guy who would have fallen for that stuff. 4 months ago, Melissa taught me a valuable lesson. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. She showed me she was selfish, dishonest, and willing to destroy other people to get what she wanted. I believed her, and I acted accordingly. Looking back on everything that happened, the whole wedding disaster was actually a blessing in disguise. Yeah, it was humiliating at the time. And yeah, it cost me a lot of money, but it saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life. Marrying someone who would cheat on me, and then humiliate me in front of everyone I cared about. Now I know exactly what to look for in red flags. I know my worth and I won't settle for less. The viral video thing was weird at first, but honestly it ended up working in my favor. Everyone could see what really happened. Nobody could twist the story or make excuses for her. The evidence was right there for millions of people to see, and the support from strangers was actually pretty amazing. Made me realize there are still decent people in the world who can recognize right from wrong. As for Melissa, I genuinely hope she figures her life out. But that's not my problem anymore. She made her choices, and now she has to live with them. Actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences follow you around for the rest of your life. Derek disappeared completely after the video went viral. Probably changed his name and moved to another country. Smart move on his part. He accomplished what he wanted to do, destroyed someone's relationship, and then ran away, like the coward he always was. But in the end, he did me a favor too, by showing me Melissa's true character. Before I was legally bound to her, these days I'm doing better than ever. Work is going great. Got that promotion I was hoping for. My social life is actually better without Melissa's drama, and I'm meeting new people who actually respect me. The whole experience taught me that sometimes the worst day of your life can lead to the best chapter. And sometimes people do you the biggest favor by removing themselves from your life, even if they do it in the most dramatic way possible. So yeah, that's my story. The day my fiancée ran away with her ex at our wedding, and how it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. Anons. If someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Don't make excuses, don't try to fix them. Just believe them and act accordingly. Your future self will thank you for it. And if someone ever humiliates you in public, remember that their actions say everything about them and nothing about you. The internet might make you famous for a day, but living with integrity makes you a winner for life. Trust me on that one.